Let me just briefly introduce. I spent a few minutes on talking about Ontopic, and then I try to answer a bit, at least, my view of the questions that we were asked to look at. Now, as Uli said already, we're dealing with data integration, and we want to use the technology of virtual knowledge graphs. And we believe first of all, that the theory of virtual knowledge graph, which is also known as OBDA, is great, but now we want to make use of it in the real world, and that's something different in general. So our initial answer 10 years ago to this was the Ontop system, which was developed at the Faculty of Computer Science in Bolzano, starting with the PhD thesis of Mariano. We claim it to be the most advanced virtual knowledge graph engine, at least among the open source ones. We had several publications on it, and we are groups as well. We are not the only ones that collaborate on Ontop. The development of Ontop was funded through several EU projects. I think most notably Optic. Some preliminary work was done in the TONES project that Uli knows very well, but this was before in that time. And then there were other projects in which Ontop was further developed. Now we have again a running EU project. And Ontop is already and was widely adopted in research and industry projects. And why I'm talking so much about Ontop, because, okay, let me first also say that in 2013 we released it open source, and it has quite some visibility. I mean, we had 35,000 downloads just recently, cumulative, and we just released a month ago version 4, which is the latest and greatest version of Ontop. And then, I mean, after having Ontop, the question was, what should we do with it in order to continue the development? Because the risk is that if you don't have funding, and that some nice tools that often get developed, they just die if funding runs out and there's no enough interest behind it. And so we thought, okay, let's try to not let this happen. Let's try to create a company. Also because a lot of the development activity is not pursued in a university. And if we don't have a dedicated company, we don't have commercial support. And in fact, Ontop didn't have a lot of supporting tools apart the engine. So the full potential of the VKG approach for data integration could not be used. That was our idea. And in fact, we started with the idea now more than 3 years ago. It took some time because the university didn't have regulations in place to fund a spin-off. And also the right group of people was not really there. I mean, we had some team, but we could not fund a company just academics. So this took some time to put together the right group of people. And in the end, we succeeded 1 year ago, a bit more than 1 year ago. We founded Ontopic, which became an innovative startup, which is incubated in a technology park in Bolzano. And the team, in fact, was a combination of academics, essentially me, Gohui, and also Benjamin came from academia. I mean, he was working in our group. And Marco is also a professor in our group. But Benjamin moved away from academia, so he became the chair of Ontopic full-time since the start, almost. And then Peter Hofgartner joined the team, who is essentially a manager whom we knew from the university, and he's the CEO. And he is actually a physicist from training, but he had already experience with companies, and we are now, I think, a very happy team. I think we will work very well together, and things go very well from that point of view. Now, the mission we had as a company was to make virtual knowledge graphs the leading technology for data integration and data access, because a company must have a vision, and this is essentially our vision. Now, what are we doing currently at Ontopic? So, first of all, we are developing the tooling suite around Ontop, which in part means also development on Ontop itself. However, Ontop stays as an open source system. So we don't make Ontop the commercial tool of the company. Ontop stays open source, and it's actually further developed by the research group. And we keep actually the two things quite separate, the research group and the company, as it should be, I believe. Instead, what we develop in the company as a main product, we want to have a product, is what we call the Ontopic suite, which is a set of tools around Ontop that allow to use this technology. We do project work based on Ontop and consultancy. We do customizations. We do also training and education on virtual knowledge graphs and data integration. Okay, so this is what I wanted to say about Ontopic, just to give a background. Now, let me now come to the questions that we were asked to answer. The first one is, what are the main challenges in bringing DL research to market? We are here at DL, so I think many people are interested about DL. Now, first of all, let me say that I would say, based on our experience, now, please, a word of caution, we are a small company and our experience is not extremely large. I mean, we are small. We have now 2 employees full-time in addition to the team that we are seeing. We work with several interns, but we still are small also in terms of projects. And our experience is that customers are not really interested in DL research. They are interested clearly in getting their problem solved, and they don't care much about what is the technology that you use as long as you solve their problem. And in fact, what they want is that we generate value for them. So the question, I think, becomes, how can DL research generate value for customers? And the point is, it generates value if we solve their problems and do so cost effectively. So we need to intervene where the customer sees means to save money, essentially, and to get things done more efficiently. This is what it means in the end. And that's what we are somehow trying to look at now. So the second question was, what is our experience with customers who want to use semantic technologies? Again, let me talk about our limited experience. So we are dealing, Ontopic is dealing essentially with 2 types of customers. Those who have already embraced semantic technologies and somehow they are quite happy about it. In fact, our somehow main interaction partner, I would even call it a partner rather than a customer, is a company in Spain, Cities Academic, with whom we have since a long time some close connections. They have been using the Ontopic system since many years for their projects. What they do, they develop essential analytics dashboards over data initially in the public domain sector and the research sector. And they are quite fond about semantic technologies, and they wanted to work with us to support the tools that they already use in their suite. I mean, they don't use just semantic technology, but they found that semantic technologies are a very good means towards what they want to do, namely integrate heterogeneous data, quite complex data, and build dashboards on top of it. And they can use it, they can do it quite well with semantic technologies, in particular with Ontopic. So they have a set of tools that rely rely on Ontopic. And then there are those customers who don't really know and probably don't care about semantic technologies. And for them, we are back at question 1. I mean, they want to solve their problems and they want to do this efficiently. So they want means to solve their problems efficiently. Now, if semantic technologies provide a means to solve their problems efficiently, fine, then they will be happy to use semantic technologies. But in fact, they don't really need to know even about it. So in general, these are people who need to solve data integration problems, but not even that. I think, at least in our experience, not even data integration is the problem they fully understand. They want to do analysis of the data. That's what they understand. And to do analysis of the data, you first need to have access to this data. And that's where semantic technologies come in and data integration actually comes in. So in the end, it's about creating value. And if semantic technologies help in that, then fine. The third question is, what are the main features of semantic technology that customers need? And as said, our customers are interested in analyzing their data. And for that, they need to understand it. So semantic technology is the means to provide understanding to the data. So I would say this is the most important feature, and to make data easily accessible, because it provides understanding, a clear understanding of what the data is about. Now, one issue that we see, at least that we are facing now as a small company, is that semantic technologies, at least those semantic technologies that we use, don't provide an end-to-end solution towards what the customer wants for his data. So a key question for us is how to integrate semantic technologies in an end-to-end tool chain that then allows to create value for customers. And for example, this typically requires also solving the analytics problem. So not only just integrating the data, but then using the data and creating value out of it. And now the question is, should we do it as a small company ourselves, or should we look for partners to do it? And we are still in the issue of looking into these problems. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. I think I used up more or less 10 minutes. And,
okay, thank you.
I hope I gave,